When planning an outdoor wedding, the key thing that we want to try and create for you is an understanding of what I always call the 3Ds. So dancing, dining, drinking. We want to create those 3 zones for you. Now, it might be that dining, you don't want to seat everybody. You're having really informal food, and actually having a seat for everybody isn't important. With regards to drinking, you might be happy for that to be positioned outside and have an outdoor bar. So these are all things that we consider when we're kind of looking at and recommending for you what TP space or what sailcloth space is going to be right for you. So today I am diving in and sharing with you the difference of having 3 giant hats with a chill out TP versus 4 giant hat TPs and what you can create. And I'm basing this on a wedding of say 150 seated and party up to 200, and having either 3 in the chill out or 4 giant hats, you are literally sat on the wall of where you could go with it. So let's find out what we're going to get for the extra size with the comparison of the two, and actually what's the cost difference, what's the difference going to be to have the 3 giant hats and the chill out TP or the 4 giant hats. So let's dive in, and I'm going to share with you some floor plans, some photos to demonstrate the difference and how that can work for you. With the TPs, you've always got sort of options of how that layout could work for you. So I'm going to look at the smaller side of things. It's not small, obviously, it's pretty big. We're looking at 150 guests, but smallest of the 2 that we're comparing. So this is 3 giant hats with a chill out TP. So we've got 1 giant hat, 2 giant hats, 3 giant hats, chill out TP. So the compromise with having this setup is potentially it's the bar side of things. So with our 3 giant hat TPs, we can see we've got the dance floor TP. If you're having a top table, a great position for that's in front of the dance floor. And then all your seating. Now, I've popped everyone on bench seating, but obviously naturally you might want some chairs in there too. So we can see we've got our dancing and our dining covered off. So that's 2 of our all important Ds of the 3 Ds that we need. And the next D is drinking. So we've got dancing, we've got dining, and now let's dive in and look at drinking and how we approach that. So the biggie here is if you're having your bar inside and you want your bar inside, you could position that within the chill out TP, and that will work if you don't have the fire pit in there. Now the fire pit for some people is a real big draw to having a TP celebration, as that's what people want. They want the fire pit inside the TP. It's a unique feature to these tents. However, this could be the compromise of getting everything that you want and working with sort of the budget that you're wanting to work to create your amazing outdoor wedding. So the chill out TP then, the reason I've not put a fire pit in there is the focal point for this is going to be drinking. It's going to be the bar area. So we need to ensure we've got space for your suppliers to be able to get behind the bar and service the bar for you. And then I've put a couple of tall poser tables in there. So you've got spaces for people to sort of wait, hang, have a drink, have a little bit of a chat in there. But ultimately what that is your drinking zone, that magic 3rd D. And then chill out wise, fire pit wise, I've put a couple of those outside for you, which actually, if your venue doesn't provide those, yes, we've got them, but the cheapest option there is to actually go and buy a couple of fire pits. Lidl or Aldi do a really reasonable priced fire pit, and I always say get one of those, because if guests are toasting marshmallows, you actually do not care then if it absolutely gets covered with residue of marshmallow. So coming back to your chill out TP, why is there not a fire pit in there? Well, if you've got 200 guests trying to get served in a chill out TP with a bar, there just isn't enough space. So we just want to be sensible with it. So my advice is use that as your bar area only, and then create some external chill out zones. So let's look at a couple of the other floor plans for you. So looking at another option of how you can have the TPs laid out. So we've got the 3 giant hats and then the chill out TP. So this is a triangle formation with the chill out TP, and that could also be reversed. So this being the entrance here, and then you can have the 2 back teepees. But I think layout wise, for those guests with the chill out bar, this works brilliantly alongside the other. So here's a few photos to show those layouts. So this is what I've said, the flip of that, where you've got 1 at the front and 2 at the back with the chill out at the back, but representing the teepee layout with the chill out teepee and the 2 giant hats at the front. This photo shows you perfectly. Sometimes the site and what space you've got in the land may dictate to you what layout of teepees is going to work for you. If it doesn't, then obviously you've got the freedom to have what you want and work with what you like and those choices. So here's a couple of images to show you the long layout. We call this an arc. So you've got the 3 main teepees and then the chill out teepee to one end. And this square structure here is the catering annex. So if you're going for a sit-down meal, it's quite likely that your caterers will require a catering annex. So that's just showing you what that is and how that joins and works with the teepee space. So now let's look at, as an alternative to that, actually not having a chill out teepee, but having a 4th giant hat. And as I said, there's going to be a crunch in numbers where it's like this or that. Sometimes it's absolutely, it's that, and that's the way forward. But sometimes there is a choice. And often it comes down to you on what you want from your space and how you want that to feel. So by adding in the 4th giant hat, what that's going to allow us to do is bring that chill out zone inside. So we can have the bar with the fire pit and a couple of relaxed seating in there too. So here's an arc, so 4 giant hats in a long row. And then we've got a couple of options, variations on this. So this is what we call a diamond. So if we go back, we've got the triangle here with an extra one on the back. So again, it's got those magic 3Ds, dancing, dining, drinking. And then we've popped the entrance just here. And then the alternative to this, which does get a few laughs. So again, we've got the triangle with an extension on it. So we call this the extended triangle. You may choose to call it something else. So with this setup, we've put the entrance here for you. So you're sort of coming in here into your dining space. We've got the top table there, if that's something you're choosing to have. Bar with the drinking zone and then the dancing zone. So you can almost see that daytime, this is the area you're going to be using at the front, and then nighttime, you're going to 80% of your guests will probably be using this sort of back end area where the dancing's going on and the bar and the fire pit. So you can see how your space is going to transition from day to night. Now, naturally, with this, I would say your top table definitely needs moving. And it could just be that you pop the tables to the sides. So you've got those to put on any evening food, and then you could utilise the chairs around sort of your chill out zone or adding them to your front tables there. So always trying to get the most out of the furniture that you've got. And how that looks. So this is the 2 here at the front. You can only see the 1 hiding at the back. So here's a second photo of that layout where we can see the extended triangle option. And again, there's the catering tent hiding at the back there for you. This is the diamond, so 1 at the front. So that 1 at the front, we created almost like a reception teepee, if you want to call it that, where it had the bar, fire pit and some relaxed seating with the dining through the middle and the dance floor at the back. Now, and this is the long arc. And how much is open at the front? We could have even more of that open if the weather allowed for it. It just comes down to sort of weather conditions, but you can see you can have a really big opening. So if you've got a stunning outlook like that lakeside photo that I showed you earlier, it might be that you choose to have that bigger outlook. So the big question that I'm sure is on your lips, well, what's the cost difference, Jodie? What's the cost difference between me having 3 giant hats with a chill out teepee used as a bar, or me having everything inside the teepees with the 4 giant hats, chill out teepee and fire pit? Well, I've worked that out and it approximately is about £1,100, just to give you an idea. So that includes sort of, I base that on having the furniture, because the furniture is all the same, dance floor is the same. So the big difference is you're getting a slightly bigger, larger teepee. you're getting a fire pit and some relaxed seating. So that's an approximately £1,100 additional investment. So it really comes down to what's right for you. Do you want to spend that little bit of extra to get that extra space, which if your evening numbers are starting to tinker towards that 220 mark, yes, definitely go for it. If, however, you're kind of going, well, that's money that I could spend elsewhere and I'm happy for the chill out teepee to be used as a bar, or alternatively, I'm happy for the bar to be outside, which could be a horse box or maybe under the little hat, then the 3 giant hats with a chill out teepee could be the right option for you. I hope that's helped. The choice really is yours. We're here just to help to guide you through that process and help you sort of identify what's right for you. And a lot of that is how you see your day, what you want from your celebration space, so then we can work with you to create that magical space that is right for you from daytime to evening, so you can have the best, most comfortable, amazing celebration space there is to have. Thanks for watching. I'm Jodie of Sami Tipi. Remember to hit that subscribe button, as we've got lots of more videos for you to have a look at, and even more coming up, sharing more sort of insight and information and ideas for planning your own outdoor wedding. Hopefully you found that really useful and helpful, and helps you in sort of making a bit more of an informed decision about working out what's right for you. Now, obviously, we're here to help you, to guide you through that process. So any questions, you're always welcome to fire those over to us. I hope you found this helpful. If you have, please leave a comment below, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, as we will be sharing more tips, ideas and information to help you get the most out of planning your own outdoor wedding.